The ocean stretched endlessly below, its blue waves glimmering like glass beneath the sun. High above, a sleek private plane sliced through the clouds, carrying a man who thought he had everything figured out. David Bennett leaned back in the leather seat, a self-assured smile curving across his lips. Beside him sat his young secretary, a woman who admired him not just as a boss, but as someone she thought could give her the world. He had planned this secret vacation to escape the monotony of his marriage, to indulge in freedom and a taste of something he felt he deserved. But fate had prepared a cruel twist, one he never saw coming, because the pilot of the very plane they boarded that morning was none other than his wife, Emily Bennett. Before we dive deeper into this powerful and emotional story of betrayal, choices, and redemption, please take a moment to like this video, comment, share it with friends, and subscribe to our channel, Kindness Stories, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of love that can change even the hardest of hearts. David Bennett was a man many envied. He was a wealthy businessman in his 40s, handsome, commanding, and admired by many for his intelligence and charm. He had married Emily, a woman of grace, elegance, and quiet strength, nearly 15 years ago. Together, they had built a family that looked picture-perfect from the outside. Emily was not just a housewife. She had been a pilot before she chose to step back from her career to raise their children. Few people knew the sacrifices she made, and fewer still knew how deeply she loved her husband. But years of distance, late nights at the office, and David's growing hunger for excitement had driven him into the arms of his young secretary, Claire. Claire was in her 20s, ambitious and dazzled by the attention of a powerful man. David told himself it wasn't love, just an escape, a thrill, something to make him feel alive again. When he invited her on a business trip to a tropical island, he thought it was the perfect plan. No one would know. No one would see. It was supposed to be just a few days away from responsibility. The morning they arrived at the private hangar, David barely paid attention to the pilot who would fly them. He was too busy enjoying Claire's laughter and the feeling of her hand brushing against his. But when the pilot turned and removed her sunglasses, David's blood turned to ice. Standing before him in the crisp uniform was Emily, his wife, the woman he had been lying to, the woman he thought he had left behind at home. Emily's eyes did not betray a storm. They were calm, almost unreadable. She greeted them both politely, her voice steady as she confirmed their flight plan. But behind that calmness was a pain so deep it could break mountains. She had found out the truth days earlier when she saw the travel bookings under her husband's name and realized he had planned the trip with someone else. She didn't confront him, not yet. Instead, she quietly arranged to be the pilot for that chartered flight. If David wanted to run away, she would be the one to carry him into the sky and face him there, where there was no escape. As the plane lifted off the runway, the silence between them was deafening. Claire chatted away, oblivious to the undercurrent of tension, flipping through magazines and talking about beach resorts. David could hardly hear her. His eyes kept flickering toward the cockpit where Emily sat, her posture straight, her hands steady on the controls, her gaze fixed on the horizon. It was in that moment that David realized she was stronger than he ever gave her credit for. And that terrified him. The hours that followed felt like a lifetime. Every bump of turbulence seemed to shake his conscience. Every announcement from Emily carried a weight that pierced through his chest. He began to replay his choices, the lies, the betrayal, and the face of the woman he had once vowed to cherish above all else. Claire, meanwhile, noticed his unease but misread it as fear of flying. She leaned closer, trying to comfort him, unaware that her presence was the very wound now bleeding inside his heart. At one point, Emily's voice came through the intercom, calm and commanding. "We're approaching a stretch of turbulence. Fasten your seatbelts," David obeyed immediately, his palms sweaty, his heart pounding. For the first time, he wasn't afraid of the skies. He was afraid of the truth. He was afraid of losing Emily forever. The storm they hit mid-flight was fierce. Lightning cracked through the sky, and the plane shook violently. Passengers often fear these moments, but for David, it became symbolic. As Emily navigated the storm with unwavering skill, he realized she had been doing the same in their marriage for years, holding steady while he chased distractions, protecting the family while he risked everything for fleeting pleasures. Hours later, when they landed safely on the island runway, Claire was still talking about the excitement of turbulence and how thrilling it was. But David barely heard her. His eyes were fixed on Emily as she exited the cockpit, her uniform crisp, her expression unreadable. She looked at him for only a moment, a gaze filled with unspoken words, hurt, disappointment, strength, and perhaps even a quiet farewell. She walked away without demanding answers, without creating a scene, and somehow that silent departure broke David more than any shouting ever could. On the island, David could not enjoy anything. The ocean seemed gray, the sun seemed harsh, and every laugh from Claire felt hollow. He realized he had traded a diamond for dust. The woman he betrayed had been his anchor, his strength, the one who had given up her own dreams to support his. And he had thrown it all away for an illusion. The trip that was supposed to be an escape became a prison of guilt. By the second night, David couldn't stand it anymore. He told Claire it was over, packed his bags, and booked the first flight back home. His mind was filled with only one thought: finding Emily, begging for forgiveness, and trying, if she would let him, to rebuild what he had shattered. When he returned, Emily was at home with their children. She didn't ask questions. She didn't need to. Her silence was heavier than words. David knelt before her, tears in his eyes, confessing everything, admitting his weakness, and telling her that nothing in the world could ever compare to the life and love they had built together. Emily listened quietly, her heart torn between anger and love, betrayal and hope. In the weeks that followed, it wasn't easy. Trust once broken doesn't return overnight. David had to fight every single day to prove his sincerity. He canceled late nights at the office. He deleted Claire's number and avoided every temptation that once seemed irresistible. Instead, he turned his attention back to his family. He sat with his children, read them stories, learned about their days. He supported Emily's dream of flying again, encouraging her to take up pilot jobs she once loved. Slowly, very slowly, Emily began to see the change in him. The moment of true redemption came months later when Emily was scheduled to fly a long-haul route. David insisted on being there at the airport to see her off. As she walked toward the plane in her uniform, he held her hand and whispered, "This time, I know exactly what it means to let you fly. You're not just my wife, you're my wings." And for the first time since that fateful trip, Emily allowed herself to smile again. It wasn't forgiveness in full, but it was a beginning. Life doesn't always give second chances, but sometimes if we are humble enough to admit our mistakes and strong enough to change, love can find a way back through even the darkest storms. David and Emily's journey was not perfect, and scars remained, but they learned that true love isn't about perfection. It's about fighting for each other, even when the skies are rough. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Kindness Stories so we can keep bringing you more emotional and inspiring stories that remind us of the power of love, forgiveness, and second chances. And before we end, we'd love to hear from you. Please comment below. Do you believe a marriage can survive betrayal if both people are willing to fight for it? Your words may inspire someone who is struggling right now. Emily soared again in the skies, stronger than ever, while David stood on the ground. Learning that love was not about chasing thrills, but about cherishing the person who had always been there, holding him steady through every storm. And though the journey of healing was long, it became their greatest flight together, one that carried them not just across the skies, but deeper into the meaning of love itself.